My 50th class reunion comes up this year. Well, it was supposed to, but it got canceled. It was because of the COVID thing, and quite frankly, I think it was because people weren't interested anymore. And I come from a big class, at least I thought it was. 550 some kids graduating 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So I started thinking about, do I really want to go to my class reunion? I'm not really fond of them that much, but should I go? You know, I really think most people go for a couple of reasons. But in this episode of Old Comfy Shoes, we're going to talk about class reunions. And do they suck?
So when was the first class reunion, you ask? Well, apparently they all started back in the 1800s. Those Ivy League colleges, Harvard and Yale, decided to start getting people together a few years after they graduated. They were a lot more stoic back then. Personal invitations were sent out, and people traveled, by horse and buggy to get there. I don't think they sat around and talked about a toga party. But class reunions now, we all have seen them because we've all been to them. And it becomes so popular that we've made movies about it. Movies like Falling in Love Again, National Lampoon's Class Reunion, The Big Chill, Peggy Sue Got Married, and of course the popular Archie, To Riverdale and Back Again. There's so many of them. So why are they so important to us? And so why do we want to go back in time and see what we look like, say 50 years ago? And do we want to relive that moment when they played that song, Pomp and Circumstance? Oh, yes. So you say, wait a minute, where did that song come from? Well, let me tell you. The stimulating refrain of Pomp and Circumstance we all heard as we walked down the aisle to get our diplomas. It's actually Pomp and Circumstance, March number 1 in the key of D, which was performed first in 1901, written by English composer, Sir Edgar Elgar. So apparently the song became so popular around the turn of the century that the song became an immediate hit. I don't think it went number 1 with a bullet. But in 1905, when Elgar's score became associated with graduation ceremonies in the U.S., that year, Elgar was granted an honorary doctorate from the University of Yale, and he walked off the stage to Pomp and Circumstance. Well, not to be outdone, Princeton used the March number 1 in its graduation ceremony the next year, followed by the University of Chicago, and then Columbia, and so on and so on. And now we get to enjoy it in thousands of campuses across the United States.
Personally, I'd rather heard some Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin at my graduation. I don't know why we make those ceremonies so solemn. Shouldn't be. It should be happy times. You got through it. Getting through high school is not necessarily the easiest thing you do, but it's important. It's another part of growing up. But enough about graduation. So why do we go? Why do we want to go to class reunions? Well, part of it is we probably want to see people that we haven't seen for 50 years. And see if they've changed much. Yeah. Like you haven't. I always have this funny thing about seeing people that I haven't seen for a long time, that I always envision them the moment I saw them last, which was when they were 18, you know what I mean? And then you see them and you're like, they got old, didn't they? Well, so did you. I think the other reason we go is to maybe brag on our own selves. Tell people about how successful our life has been. Talk about our son, the doctor, or daughter the CEO of a big company, or 20 or 30 grandchildren, and maybe even a few great-grandchildren. That gives you an opportunity to brag about, especially the people you haven't seen for a long time. It always surprises me that at the end of the day, we all like reminiscing as we get older. So next year I'll get another invitation, another opportunity for me to look at saying, do I want to go the 600 miles to see my classmates? And I'll be thinking about it again. So what I'd like to hear is from you. In the comments below, tell me about your class reunion stories. They gotta be funny. So until next time, slip into your old comfy shoes, grab a cup of coffee, and remember, the best years are ahead. This is Rick Troutman with Old Comfy Shoes. See you next time.